begun. The streaming war has.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to this live review of the second episode of The Mandalorian. And joining me to discuss that is, as usual, Tom Connors from Midnight's Edge and Midnight's Edge After Dark. Welcome.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night, whatever time it is where you're at.
And also joining us, who was he also here in the last episode, Mr. H from Mr. H Reviews. Welcome. How's it going?
Yeah, good. Not too bad. Not too bad at all.
Excellent. Thanks for joining us. And Rob will probably be joining us at some point or another, but he's not here yet. But we'll just begin. Now, as you may recall, if you listened to the last review that we did, we made a very interesting discovery because, Mr. H, you and I, we quite enjoyed The Mandalorian, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
And the funny thing is that we are not particular fans of Star Wars, either of us. The ones that are Tom and Rob. And none of them liked it. Did you, Tom?
I wouldn't say I didn't like it. I was cautiously pessimistic or whatever. There was bits and pieces of it I wasn't sure yet. I'm one of those I like to see at least 3 episodes before I give a solid, pass or continue to keep watching it. But in the end, there was parts of it that really kind of just didn't set well with me, and I wasn't sure what to expect, if there was going to be some kind of rug pulling involved down the road yet, which could still happen. But we are 2 episodes in now, so perhaps my outlook has changed, or it stayed the same. We'll have to see.
Yeah. To me, that was a long-winded way of saying you didn't like it. But that's just me. But that was the first episode. Now we have seen one more episode, slightly shorter episode, but that's like the thing with streaming. They can have the episodes however long or however short that they see fit. But now we've seen the first episode. Oh, I see a comment here. Stargate 404 asks, was there a roundtable on episode 1? Yes, there was. And if you go into the description of this very video, you will find a link to it. But of course, check that out later because we're live here right now, whereas the other one isn't live anymore. And Clone Captain Blasto says, I'm kind of like you, Andre. I didn't grow up with Star Wars, but I do appreciate them for the culture significance they have left. Yes, exactly. There you go. Agree completely. And hello to absolutely everyone else in the chat. So, yes, episode 2. What did we think about that? Mr. H, let's begin with you. Your thoughts on the second episode?
It's not as good as the first one. Just kind of straight away, it's definitely not as good as the first one. Actually, believe it, it's from a directing standpoint. I didn't think it was as good. Looks the same and things like that, but it was still fantastic, mind you. I still really enjoyed it, but it just wasn't as good as the first one. But there were some really key things which I did really like, which I'm not sure. I don't know if anyone really noticed it, but literally just the opening, and this comes down to a directing thing anyway. But when he was walking down through the canyon, initially you see the people jumping overhead. And it's actually in the reflection on his helmet, because initially I watched it and I thought, is that what's going on there? Is someone actually jumping overhead? What am I seeing there? The little shadow and stuff, but the finer details were there, which were quite nice. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. Like, it was a lot of filler and stuff like that. But in what I did in my review was say that, yes, it was filler, but it's not filler when you compare it to, series. Series have to have filler. You got to grow to like these people. So this was justified filler, I think. And it was good. Enjoyed it.
Cool. And now we were just joined by Rob. Hey, Rob, welcome. And remember to unmute your mic.
Yeah, I remember to turn everything on, too. First day with the new hands. So how's it going? Hey, how's it going, everybody? So you're gonna ask me what I thought of the Mandalorian? I guess that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, second episode. I trust you've seen it.
Yeah. Good, not great. Feels like they're trying to find their feet. I don't. It seemed we kind of knew that Baby Yoda was going to be all powerful. Not all powerful, but yeah. Mark C. McClunky. Yeah. I don't know. It just seemed like okay. It just didn't seem like anything special, but all right. It's starting to take shape now.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Let's work with that right now, and we'll develop that a little bit more. As for me, I'm with Mr. H. I liked the episode just fine. Did not like it as much as the previous one. I thought it was a slight step down, not a huge step down. I still enjoy it. I think it looks to be going in a kind of like lone wolf and cub direction, which could be cool. And I like that this Mandalorian seems to be like slightly younger, more inexperienced Mandalorian. Like when he like tried to get his armor back and everything, or not his armor, but like the gear for his spaceship back, he kind of like messed that up a bit. And he seems to be in a position where he's still learning, so that's pretty cool. Overall, I liked it, and I know many have issues with the music. I thought that fit fairly well as well.
I really like the music. I genuinely really like the music. I don't understand where the complaint's coming from.
Yeah, me either. I think it's great for it. Great.
The thing is, you're gonna get what? John Williams to come in to do a score for this. Why? It's not part of the Skywalker saga. It has to sound different.
The one part I can see, because like otherwise what we get throughout, and I don't have a big issue with this, is you get Duel of the Fates and kind of like a Western motif version. Fine. I think the part maybe people are talking about, there was one specific scene, I can't remember exactly where it was, but it starts off with like this really techno sounding, like really rapid thing underneath this other thing.
People's comments are about the whole thing.
Okay, see, other than that, that's the only time the music stuck out to me like a sore thumb. I will say that. Other than that, I had no problem.
We can get back to the music, but Tom, just first, give us your general impressions.
I actually like it. I both disagree and agree with all of you. I thought this was a much better episode. I thought it was better paced. Yeah, it is a bit of a filler episode, but you know what? We got to know both the Mandalorian a little bit better. Like Andre said, we learned that he's not, we learned a little bit more about the fact that he's just beginning. He's younger. He's inexperienced. He's learning things. He's stupid enough to leave his ship in a position to get fucked up by Jawas. And that's another thing where, oh, hello, Gary. Even though I invited him, he said he couldn't make it. The music sucks. He says, yeah, I have my both sides to the music. I understand and disagree with that. Baby Yoda won me over. I know it's a lot of cutesy stuff, but Baby Funko Yoda, especially when he ate that frog, was hilarious. I liked, and this is what I was talking about last week with Mr. H, and I know it was a bit of a thing between us, but as far as this is the kind of thing I was looking for, we got to see a little bit more inside the world of the Jawas, something we never really got to explore too much in the original movie. We got to see bits and pieces of it, but it was mostly from the point of view of the droids. Now we actually got to see how they interact, the whole deal with the egg, because I knew exactly that, okay, this egg is probably something that's worth a lot, but these Jawas, they're junkers. So what are they going to do with it? They're going to chop it open and they're going to eat it. And that's exactly what they did.
Tom, Gary's in the chat. Hey, Gary.
Yeah, I told him hi. He could come in if he wanted to, but he said he was busy. So I will send him the link, though.
Yeah.
Well, can we go back to the music then, seeing as this is the guy that actually hates the music? So
yeah, unless people just don't like the fact that they're using Duel of the Fates, I don't understand what the gripe with the music. Outside of the techno music sounding thing was kind of felt out of place to me.
There's nothing wrong with the music at all. There's nothing wrong with the music at all. It has to.
Yeah, sorry, carry on. I'll take that.
It has to sound different to the main saga. Everyone mouthing off saying that you need this, you need that, you need this, blah 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 blah. That's all well and good. That's fine, but at the end of the day, it's not the Skywalker saga. Getting John Williams in to score this what an absolute waste of his talents. You're going to get him in to score this? Really? Please. It has to sound different. It's a different tone. It's basically a different genre. This is not the Skywalker saga in so many words. It's not a space opera. This is a Western.
Yeah,
this
literally
is a spaghetti
a space
Western. So people's massive issue with the music, well, I would just ask you, what are you expecting? Are you expecting the space opera music? Yeah, you're kind of watching you're literally watching the wrong thing then. You know, one or two tracks here and there, yeah, may not land, but I really, 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 really do like, and this is going back to old way of doing music, which no one does anymore, key characters having their own theme tunes. Mandalorian has his theme tune. Really, really cool. Really nice to see it recurring. Really nice to see it come from the opening of the first episode and seep into the second episode. Really, really nice. Really nice.
I agree. There was just one scene that I did not like, that I noticed where like the music kind of pulled me out of it a little bit. And that was now in this episode. I don't know exactly if it started when he was repairing the ship, but certainly like when his ship took off from the dust planet into space. The music that was in the background right there, that I thought was just distracting. But other than that, the music, when they're walking on the surface and everything, I think it's spot on. It's perfect, fits the mood, fits the atmosphere. So the guy doing the score, who I looked up, and it's actually Ludwig Göransson, who is a Swedish-born composer. He's scored the Black Panther movie before, among some other stuff. So I thought that he's done pretty good with this. Yeah, it's different, but I think it fits with this. And again, this is not the saga thing. You can tell that in the intro of the stuff. You don't have the normal Star Wars intro. You have like this new Star Wars intro, which I think it kind of like fits anyway, because like this isn't the original Star Wars. This is Disney Star Wars. But I would say this is Disney Star Wars the way it should have been from day one. Can you imagine if we had gotten something like this in theaters instead of the movies that we got? How would the Phantom Menace be today? I don't think it would exist.
Probably wouldn't exist. Yeah.
I gotta say, I mean, as far as like
they still would have hated the music.
music aside, and one thing I didn't express enough the first roundtable was I love the cinematography of this. I love the look of this. This show reminds me of the original Ralph McQuarrie drawings of Mos Eisley and shit like that, of that desert area. That I don't know how to explain it, but that motif, the tone that they had there, it was something that I've just always felt like we never were able to capture necessarily outside of the original Star Wars. And they were really kind of able to bring that back. So I can't take that away from it. And that goes way back to the original episode. And I did like the Western in space type of tone we've gotten from the show overall. And that was something I don't think I got to express enough the first time around either. And that's something that I think carries over again from the original Star Wars, which does kind of have that kind of tone to it in a way.
Well, yeah, well, Star Wars, the original Star Wars is the classic pulp adventures, like from the 1930s.
Right, and it calls back to a lot of Kurosawa, which in turn, of course,
this is
which influenced a lot of American Westerns. So that's where I'm saying it's kind of all roundabout on itself, kind of thing. Yeah.
Well, this is Sergio Leone's Man with No Name. I mean,
which was, and again, like I said, all harkens back to the same kind of stuff. So it comes from the same roots. Yeah.
On that, if it is trying to be Sergio Leone's Man with No Name saga, I would love to, hear a boom, 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 that kind of stuff. That would actually kind of be cool. But what are you gonna do?
They kind of did that though with some of the music. I don't get so much of the backlash. There was only a couple parts where, and the only reason I said that about the little techno theme that comes in the one scene, and I think it's right before he realizes something with the baby. I can't remember which part it was, but I thought it was a sound effect at first. That's why it distracted me. I thought, okay, what's that? Some kind of alarm or something? Then I realized it was the music, and that is the only thing I can complain about it.
I'm still just waiting for the rug to be pulled out from underneath me. I'm sorry. I hate to be cynical, but.
Well, it could be that the dude is a woman still. Can happen. I don't think it's going to happen, but the possibility is certainly there. Mr. H, do you think so?
Well, I don't know. They do show him as a kid, don't they? So I doubt it.
Yeah, but we didn't see if it was a boy or girl necessarily.
Well, look, I mean, why would you get Pedro Pascal on then? You know, why?
Just to do the voice.
Yeah, but again, I like, really? That's, I wouldn't put it past Kathleen Kennedy.
2 words: Memphis Nest.
That's what I do. Yeah, you just said it yourself. You never put it past Kathleen Kennedy, even though
that's what I mean.
She is not necessarily in charge. She is an executive producer, and it may be a compromise. You got to remember.
But it's not. Remember, the whole thing's written by Jon Favreau.
I hope you're right.
But still, she can't wait to get her greasy little mitts on everything. Make sure you have a twist where the Mandalorian is really a woman. You know,
Gary chimed in on the music. That would be Nodrotic, for those of you who don't know by first name. It's average, basic, bitch music, probably applicable for Disney Star Wars. Yeah, everyone's entitled to their opinion. I happen to enjoy it, but that's me. And as you all know, I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan, so what do I know? But I do know what I like, and I kind of like this. That's just
I like the heavy metal influence on it. I love that feeling.
I disagree massively. Disagree massively. Again, like I say, what do you want? You want space opera music and a spaghetti western? It wouldn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So it fits. It works.
I gotta go with I don't understand the griping on the music. I mean, there's a few moments, but other than that, I don't know.
Well, we got him. Well, it wouldn't be. We wouldn't be Star Wars fans if we didn't find fault with something. So I hate putting it like that, but
yeah. What I found interesting, though, if we disregard the music for a moment, is that the first episode was directed by Dave Filoni, and this second episode was directed by Jon Favreau. Here we have this.
No, this one wasn't by Jon Favreau.
It's not directed by Jon Favreau.
It was somebody else. No,
it's not. I can't remember his name, but it ends with.
Me either.
But it's a strange name.
Okay.
Let me have a look. It's not Jon Favreau though.
Okay. Oh, sorry for missing off then. But anyway,
I thought it's directed by. I had it up earlier.
Yeah, I didn't recognize the name either. That's why I didn't.
Whoever it was, Dave Filoni did better, in my opinion.
Rick Famuyiwa, some shit like that. I can't pronounce that. Famuyiwa.
Okay. Okay, fine. Rick, you did good, but in my opinion, Dave did better.
Just Rick. That's all. Just Rick.
Let's not make it too difficult.
I didn't think there was any bad CGI shots in this one, like the first episode.
No, but it was better. It was better. A little bit of the creature looked a bit off when it came out of
but
the
not too bad.
Tunnel. No, again, but this is the thing. Like the whole thing's passable because you're in, well, again, I was invested anyway. So at that point, I don't really care about. I don't care about the CGI being a little bit off. And I will say the Jawas vehicle didn't look as good as it possibly could have done. But again, I must repeat, I didn't give a shit because it was so good. It was good enough to keep me engaged away from thinking about those things, is my point.
I loved the Jawas in this. I can't say enough. I'm almost ready for like an entire Jawa show at this point. Just them interacting with whoever, just whoever they piss off this week.
I liked seeing that huge tank of theirs, like that their paddy wagon, whatever the hell the thing is called. I would know. I'm not that big a fan.
I think it's called a sand crawler.
Sandcrawler.
That thing. Basically, seeing the cockpit of it, seeing how it was controlled.
Exactly.
And that was pretty cool. And basically, like seeing the Mandalorian crash into the roof of it, because it's obviously built for those tiny little things. That was pretty awesome.
And I just love their little attitudes and just the way they were portrayed. And they didn't, they didn't Disney-fy them from the original movie. If not, they gave them a little bit more edge than they had in the original movie.
They went to steal the little baby Yoda. Get away from him.
Yeah, they're like, because they're little. That's what I'm saying. They have no clue what something's really worth. They're just out for themselves.
Yeah.
They don't really. Yeah.
They don't like you much. I did disintegrate a few of them. So
that was good.
That was a great comment. I really enjoyed that. I thought that they were very forgiving. So the Javas, they're obviously not too loyal between themselves, because here's a guy that just
hell no.
annihilated like 5 of them or something, and I couldn't care less, more or less.
Well, just like when they got the egg. Like I said, that thing's probably worth a shit ton of money to certain people. And what do? Just that, half dozen of them sit there and eat the whole thing by themselves. Despite what this guy just had to go through to get the stupid thing. It's like, that's just their mentality. They're on to the next thing. They're just, I love their little world. It really kind of made me giggle a lot. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to.
This didn't pan out. Hey, let's right on to the next thing. Yeah.
Yeah. There's like, whatever. Who's next?
Yeah. Oh, that's something. Okay, but guys, so we've spoken a little bit about the egg that he had to work so hard for, which I thought was pretty cool. That you'd think that this is worth a fortune, but no, they just wanted a snack. So
that's what I thought was funny. Yeah.
I seriously hope that thing is like catnip for them.
It must be. That's what I was thinking, because it's like, it's probably worth tons of money to certain merchants in certain areas, but
they probably get high off of it. Yeah.
They better be for all the poor guy had to struggle to get to that. And he also would have succumbed to that thing if Baby Yoda hadn't helped him with the Force powers. Let's talk a little bit about that. Baby Yoda. What do you think about Baby Yoda first? And then let's get into his Force powers.
Why don't they have toys ready for this thing to go?
They already do. They're called Funko Pops.
Oh, okay.
That's why I've been calling it Funko Pop Yoda, but the little shit won me over this time. I want to see more of him being, and I hope it's a clone of Yoda, and I hope he's got more of his little attitude too, because you can kind of already see it. Just he's a little. I love. They won me over. The cutesy factor won me over in this instance, and it doesn't help that Yoda is my favorite character of all time of the Star Wars films. So,
yeah, Mr. Rage, thought on little Yoda?
I think it's really, really good. I don't see it as something which is that I said it in my review. Like I don't see it as something which is there to sell lots and lots of toys and lots of money. It's not there for, like, obviously they are going to. Okay, they are going to, absolutely, but it's not there for it. It's not, again, and I draw the comparison to the fucking Porgs, right? The Porgs were there solely to make money. They were not important to the story in any way, shape, or form. They were inserted literally just there for, hey, look at this cute thing. Do you want to buy it? Yeah, go and buy it, right? That's it. Whereas at least this Baby Yoda thing is, yeah, they're going to make some money from it. Of course they are, but at least it's written into the story. So I don't see any gripe with that at all. I think people that are like, oh, they're just doing it to make money. I think at this point, you probably need to be honest with yourself. You're just finding stuff to hate about it, genuinely. Because even anyone with, again, like a few brain cells strung together and understands any narrative, a clear comparison of insertion for a gimmick and for money and an actual important piece for the narrative. And yeah, of course they're going to make some money from it, but it's literally narrative first. And this whole story is built around this character. So yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. I was all in from the get go, like we did on the first, the first roundtable on this. Absolutely, I was all in from there. The first episode, loved it. So I'm just building off that now. It hasn't changed my view on it. Still want to keep seeing it. Yeah.
Yeah. And as for me, the Porgs, I thought they were cute, so I liked the Porgs. I know they were just a cash grab, obviously, but I still thought they were cute to look at. Baby Yoda, he kind of like won me over in the first episode already. And like, here's like the thing, that I was won over by the first episode. That's where I was converted. Like, yeah, I'm going to give this a chance. No matter what they're doing elsewhere, this is working. Made by different people, I'm all in. And the second episode didn't impress me as much as the first, but just seeing like little baby Yoda, and especially like in the first episode, when we see like what is it that he's coming to capture and possibly kill, and it's an harmless, innocent little baby. And 10 years ago, or even 5 years ago, something like that, I was like thinking, oh, fuck, I can't stand kids and babies and stuff like that in film. I hate how they just try to manipulate emotional strings and yada yada. Then I had kids myself. And that kind of like changed everything, because then I can like project that innocence and that helplessness of a little baby, because I have two, onto him, and that kind of like melted my heart, where basically here you have this innocent little baby that have people out to capture and kill him, and that does like hit my emotional strings in a way. And what really wins me over is like this thought of, here we're going to get kind of like this lone wolf and cub thing, is what I think that they're going to get to, where the Mandalorian gradually is going to come around to being sort of like a protector of this innocent little baby, that although it has force powers, it's kind of going to rely a little bit on him, like when he passed out after using force powers, completely 100% dependent on the Mandalorian for safety and survival, completely defenseless. And that's his responsibility right there. And yeah, I thought that was interesting. So that's me.
I'm getting more of a Logan kind of vibe.
Yeah, well, that too.
Yeah, that's the same thing.
Do we think it's another baby of his species, or do we think it's a clone of Yoda? That's a good question, because there's been so much of the clone talk.
Well, it's either or. I mean, the clone talk comes from the scientist's insignia, doesn't it? It's the Kim Noan and Kim Owen and blah blah blah.
Well, it's been around since some of the earlier concepts of the whole thing to begin with the prequel or sequels. That's what we've heard, time and time again. Is we're going to see a clone of Anakin, we're going to see a clone of Palpatine.
Yeah, but it's also, but again, that scientist that was with Werner Herzog, he's insignia of the cloners. So and
if that's the case, so you're saying you do think it is? Okay, sorry.
Well, no, they either want to clone him because they know that he's powerful, or he is a clone and he's an asset. One of the two.
Yeah, that's what I think. Is they actually cloned him, and he got kidnapped or got away somehow, and they're actually after him again. That's what I think. Yeah. What do you think, Andre?
I don't know. It could go either way. Part of me is inclined to believe that that it's probably a clone of Yoda, and maybe even have some memories of Yoda, and because cloning may be the way that they bring the Emperor back, and maybe we'll see an adult clone Yoda in Rise of Skywalker as well. That could be part of like what they're setting up with the link.
Yep.
So I'm more inclined to believe that. Although, of course, I would prefer if this was just some random child of Yoda's species. That would be, if I had my pick, that's what I would choose.
Right.
But I think that it's going to be some kind of a clone, just like the Emperor is probably a clone as well, because they have that technology.
Right.
The way to bring everything back for Rise of Skywalker to go full on member berries in that way, while trying to stick by their ideology, but try not to piss the fans off too much, which I think is going to fail massively. So whatever you may think about The Mandalorian, I know some of you may be difficult to win over, but this is Star Wars now. It's not on the big screen. It's here. It's on Disney Plus. That's Star Wars going forward, and probably it's going to be better for it.
Rob?
Yeah. Well, someone on Twitter just pointed out that the scientist is actually, there's a link to the clones on Camino.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that until Mr. H said it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, here's the tweet. It was, but
see, that's the thing, is I really should go back and rewatch the first episode. The more I know, that's the other problem. Yeah.
It's like I said, it very well could be, like I said, a clone of Yoda, and clones have played a part in the Star Wars universe for ages. I mean, they were never really referenced, but in the earliest films, but
they were only referenced in the earlier films. You mean?
yeah,
Like,
only
when you brought
reference.
up the
Well, yeah,
Clone Wars,
the Clone Wars. Yeah, it's like, well, what the heck's the Clone Wars? I'm like, so they expanded to, and it would make sense that they would try to clone Force users and use them and weaponize them. It really would, because you try to exploit every
and think about the
asset
time
you have. Yeah.
And think about the timing of this. This is right around, it would be close to the time that Cypher Diaz or whoever broke off from the Jedi, and they were doing shit with the clones. Who's to say they didn't clone, like you just said, all the most powerful Jedi? And Yoda, of course, would be number one on the list.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And like I said, it fits all within the context of the universe. I mean, I don't know, and it just seems, I don't want to say it's a cheap sort of MacGuffin, but like I said, even though it makes sense, I don't want to see them use this as an excuse to bring the Emperor back in The Rise of Skywalker. Oh, look, guys, it just seems like it's aping on a pre-established element to. Oh, I'm gonna get into Rise of Skywalker here for a second. Just like I said, if you use this, if you're trying to tie this into the Rise of Skywalker with cloning, that's a mistake. That's simple as say, because you needed to go somewhere. It needs to go somewhere different. You can't just keep cherry picking elements out of the past and reusing them.
Well, what
Mandalorian should be the Mandalorian should be its own thing. I mean, like I said, you want to.
I think I get what Rob's trying to say. Is it's okay to tie it back to like the Clone Wars, the cloning aspect, all that kind of stuff. But if they're setting up something like the dice, I'm gonna be upset. I'm gonna be upset too, because that's where I'm scared, is this is gonna tie into Rise of Skywalker in some silly way. Now, if they find a way to do it in clever, that's well, we'll see. But anyway, you were trying to say something, Andre.
Yeah, no, basically that. Yeah, because if that is the case, then I wouldn't be surprised for a second if this is their attempt at trying to tie into Rise of Skywalker with a cloned Yoda to match a cloned Emperor. Then they've certainly executed it far better here in The Mandalorian than I think that they will be able to do in Rise of Skywalker. Which again just goes to show, when you have the right people behind the scenes to doing it, which we appear to be having here, then you're going to get a much better final product than we've gotten on the big screen.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't disagree, and that's part of one of the videos we're kind of working on right now, or at least one of the elements of is how George Lucas was even part of this, and he works better with others. And he's got, first of all, his right-hand man from back in the Clone Wars days with Dave Filoni. And we have Jon Favreau, who, yeah, he's made some movies that you could argue didn't turn out very good. But he's also a fan, and he's made some really great movies. And I think so far he's proven to this point, until we see more episodes, that he was the right fit for Star Wars, and probably could have been and should have been from the start.
Him working with Dave Filoni, that I think is a match made in heaven, rather than the match made in hell that Kathleen Kennedy and Rian Johnston was.
And J.J. Abrams. Because also, you look at the fact of, if you had those two plus George, they took his treatments. If you let Dave Filoni and Favreau kind of nurse those treatments into actual films, I think we would have gotten a much better trilogy. Now, of course, that's just my theory, but I think you're right, Andre.
Well, the difference between Jon Favreau, someone like Jon Favreau, and the difference between someone like J.J. Abrams is Jon Favreau will tell you will tell you why something works, why he wants to do something, and why it will work. He, like Jon Favreau, he went to bat to have Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark. Everyone wanted to cast younger. Everybody wanted no. Tony Stark is being. He says no. Robert Downey Jr. is the guy. Trust me on this. Trust me. You gotta trust me. Okay, he really what's about. He really sold Robert Downey Jr. And look what the end result was. J.J. Abrams. You tell J.J. Abrams, yeah, make sure you make sure you have the female character. Make sure she's the bestest ever. Oh, sure, no problem, Kathleen. Oh yeah, we'll get right on it.
You want to know what the difference is? To simplify what you're saying, Rob, and I hate to keep doing this because I'm Rob-splaining. Basically, what you're saying is Jon Favreau comes in and he made Iron Man a Marvel Iron Man movie, right?
Right.
J.J. Abrams came in and made Star Wars a fucking J.J. Abrams movie. That's the difference. Because when you get Jon Favreau involved and he's told to make a movie, he makes that movie. He doesn't make it to where you can go in and say, oh, yeah, that's a Jon Favreau movie. Sure, if you know Jon Favreau's movies enough and you've seen every single one of them to every single end and know every little bit about the guy, I'm sure you could pick things out. But the difference here is you see a JJ movie, you know it's a fucking JJ movie from just like a few shots. Because of the lens flare, the pretentiousness of it, how it's lit, how everything's done, you know it's a JJ movie, kind of like a Kubrick thing. But that's the difference. The difference is JJ's not nearly as fucking clever as Kubrick by any means, or on the same plateau. He likes to think he's like his granddaddy, Steven Spielberg, but he's not. That's the problem, And Spielberg's a good example of a Favreau director. Yeah, you can kind of tell a Spielberg movie from certain elements, but guess what? The difference is you still don't need to know it's a Steven Spielberg movie and it's a good movie because he's not about, oh, guess what? This is a Steven Spielberg movie. Everybody else did that. Universal and them did that to promote the movie, but he didn't put his shellac all over everything other than one movie. And that would be Poltergeist, that I could argue. That you could say, yeah, he came in and he basically directed the movie underneath, Tobe Hooper or Toby Hooper, however you pronounce it, and really kind of stole the movie because he couldn't, that's a whole nother thing on itself. But again, my point is you can watch Jaws, you can watch E.T., and you can watch, a movie from later down the road of Spielberg's, and you may not necessarily know it's a Spielberg movie per se if you're not into his, you've seen all his movies and know who he is. But yeah, again, I just went and made it even longer than Rob did. Sorry.
Rob explained even further, yeah.
Yeah, well, there is that. But we've also gotten quite a few super chats. So let's see what you guys in the super chats are saying.
Way earlier today, I didn't save that one.
Yes, I do have the ones from way earlier today, where Ashlockhart took me to issue over took me to court over the previous Sonic video, and I'll get to those a little bit later on. Of course, we're not going to forget a single super chat, but before we do that and completely lose track of everything else, let's deal with the more recent super chats, which are on topic to right now. The most recent one was from Stargate 404, who sent us a $5 super chat saying, if he's a clone, why wouldn't they use growth acceleration that they used on all the clones except for Boba Fett, only because Jango asked for none? I have a theory on that, but I want to hear what you guys say first, and maybe I don't have to say anything. Mr. H?
They might have done it and he escaped. He's 80.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
or 50 or whatever it is.
They age so slowly. There's only so much they can do.
Again, that's an aspect that I didn't think about necessarily. Is he could be 50, but that doesn't mean he was made 50 years ago too. That's another good point. Yeah.
Whereas for me, I tend to believe that the reason that Jango Fett wanted a clone that was completely identical to him was that it would have all of his cunning and all of his wits. Because if you remember the other clones, they were all altered to be made more obedient. And maybe who knows what else. And then they were accelerated to grow faster. And if you recall from all the movies, all the stormtroopers we've ever seen there, they haven't been the brightest bunch. And that could also be that when you accelerate their growth too much or you alter them too much in any way, then you don't get a full person. You get someone who can do like the basic tasks. but they can't innovate. They can't do all the stuff that, for instance, a Mandalorian should be able to do. That certainly is my explanation for it, and maybe I'm completely way off.
I think they do say in the Attack of the Clones they're less independent. So I think that was a thing. So you're
well, the other clones
right
have all kinds of alterations from what it sounded like. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's that also you can accelerate the growth process, but what you can't accelerate is the speed that you take to learn stuff, the lifetime of experiences that go into feeding a brain from newborn into a functioning adult. You can, of course, try to cut that process down, but then you can still be left with someone who has an adult brain, but the experience level of a child. They're not going to be like a full person, are they? I think that's part of it.
Yeah, you're right, because we do see the younger clones training in like the little facility too, so they have to be taught certain things. They can't just be like uploaded with something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not the Matrix.
I think that might be pushing the technology of the Star Wars universe. Yeah.
I know. Well, yeah. I said it's not the Matrix.
Yeah, that's what he meant.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah. And then Timothy E sent us a €5 super chat saying, "Is Baby Yoda possibly training the secret Skywalker of Episode 9? Intriguing possibility."
Maybe he is the secret Skywalker. Dun dun dun.
Watch, it's young Luke. It's young clone Luke.
My God, what a fucking cop out would that be?
No, it wouldn't make any sense because you can sense all the Force users, remember? So,
Block them, I did.
Well, now we've gotten to the point where the Force is whatever the hell they want it to be, and the Force can do pretty much any kind of magic tricks that that it couldn't before. So yeah. And then Stargate 404 sent us another $5 super chat before that, saying, "I thought the Jawas were going to hatch the egg. Then the Jawa pulls out the machete and they all have a hairy egg omelette. Yeah, what a waste, wasn't it?"
It made me freaking laugh, though.
Yeah.
Because I called it.
I'm sure it made the Mandalorian cry, but that's neither here nor there.
It looked like he said, He looked like he said, "I don't effing believe this." And I went through all that.
He should have expected it, but he didn't understand Jawas. That's the point.
Yeah. I think it's probably just as well that his face is obscured behind the helmet, which is something I like, but that's because I like Judge Dredd, where you have like this stoic person that where you can't see the face, but then their body language, everything, it gets so much more toned down, but it becomes all the more important in the process. I like that. To me, I don't need to see the face. I don't need to learn all that much more about the character. I got a fairly good grasp on the character as it is right now, but that's just me.
You know what's sad about that is we have a character whose face is completely hidden, mind you. And I already know more and am more invested in this character now after the second episode. Here we are basically roughly an hour into what would be a movie. And I already care about and know more about this character, and to a point Baby Yoda even, than I do about Finn, Poe, Rey, Kylo Ben.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I mean. That's the difference between the people behind the scenes and how I think that people should voice their support for this and say, this is what we wanted all the time. Yeah, maybe it's not ideal, but it's a far cry better than the shit we've been getting on screen. And please give us this on screen. Fire the people that were responsible for the movies, a lot of them, and elevate these people to run the entirety of Star Wars. But you know what? I'd let them run Star Trek as well, because they can't possibly do any worse than the powers that be in charge there, which incidentally is very much so the same people in charge of Star Wars.
Yeah, you're not totally wrong.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on to other super chats. Nova Zero sent us $5 Australian saying, "It's a Firefly. What they need to do is like cancel it before season 2 and come out with the movie. Go full Firefly. Well, sorry to disappoint you, but that's not going to happen because season 2 is already filming.
But didn't what's his face, Alan Horn, say that there's a plausibility or possibility of a movie coming out of this?
Well, maybe that season 3 will be a movie. I certainly hope so. It would really suck if they just recut the existing one into like a 2-hour feature film. And the way that he used his word, like his exact wording, could be interpreted that way. But if they were to make another adventure featuring the Mandalorian on the big screen, I'd see that. And hell, I'd be more excited to see that than episode 9 at this point.
Yeah, please don't pull another Secret of the Sword on us. That was not cool.
I'd see Sice Noodles farting for 2 hours in episode 9 at this point.
Your temperature is rising. Dun, 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 dun.
And E. Mark P. sent us a $2 super chat saying, "Why ride Monster on way there, but walk back?"
Because it's really long?
Walk back where? What are you talking about? From where?
Oh no, I think I know why. I think I know exactly why. Because basically, he said, "Why ride Monster on way there?" I think that he means like that big pig animal that he was riding, and then he found like these Jawas or whatever the hell they're called, and then he ran after them, and he was like trying to crawl on their huge tank thing, Sand Blaster, whatever the hell it's called. Can you tell I'm not a big fan?
No, he was walking. He was walking
Yeah.
the whole
No, I think
time.
he's talking about between episodes from when, because where he went to get the baby, remember he had to have the creature
'cause the
to
thing
ride to
ran
get
off.
there. And then, but then he ended up, must have walked the way back is what.
Well, the creature ran off.
But the whole point was you're not supposed to have been able to make it there on foot. So I do see a
true.
slight plot hole there, but I don't think it's.
Well, I'm not
the
going to say
overall
it's a
picture.
plot hole before I rewatch it, because if you rewatch it, then maybe there's an explanation. If not, it's a plot
Yeah,
hole.
I do need to watch the first episode right with the second episode right after. I might do that when the third one comes out. Just watch.
If
it back
not,
to back to back.
I'm willing to go with the theory that he shot it and barbecued it and had it for dinner, pork style.
I'm trying to remember if we even seen him come all the way back. I'm not sure.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, we'll get back to the super chats in a little moment. But guys, tell me then, what did you think about the transition between episodes, and what happened with this thing?
Well, I think I'm kind of wondering how the episode. I'm trying to remember where the episode exactly kind of transitioned to, because that's
Well, the first episode ended with him putting his finger up to little baby Yoda, and then we open with him in the valleys walking with baby Yoda next to him. So
and he's heading to a ship. That explains the plot hole. There isn't a plot hole. We just didn't get to see the trip back because remember what's his face, Nick Nolte's character, the Ognot or whatever, was with him.
Yeah.
And so they traveled back together, probably dropped him off. We're just seeing him now travel to a ship. That's why. I get what he's saying. Okay. Yeah, that's where it starts out. So, I mean, yeah. And then you see that part, and then you get to the ship, and you see the Jawas have tore his ship apart. Which I can't believe he didn't have some kind of security. I don't know, unless they knew how to disengage it.
Well, they must do, because they do it all the time. That's how they live, isn't it? That's how they get by.
Yeah, they're scrap collectors. Yeah.
Yeah, Nick Nolte's Ognot character kind of explains that to him. He's like, they destroyed my ship. Not destroyed, just strapped. So, yeah. They knew what they took. They took exactly what they need. It's like the equivalent of like,
They're the alien Fred Sanford. They're junk dealers. Yeah.
well, not so much that, but they know exactly what to take to bribe you to get something else out of you to get your shit back. So yeah, I don't know how to. Yeah, I don't know the equivalent of that, but yeah. Anyway,
The equivalent is a expression, Yankee trader.
I didn't want to throw any political group or anything.
No,
that's
it's very,
so that's where I was.
It's a very old term, Yankee trader, because from colonial America, buyer beware. They're trying to get the best deal for themselves, but whatever they're selling you might blow up in your face. So
the way I kind of seen it is where, like, okay, let's say back in the Western days, where somebody come and steal your horses. Then somebody else would come up and say, "Oh, I seen somebody steal your horses. I think I seen them. If you give me 2 of your horses, I'll go get all your horses back."
Yeah.
Well, then they end up working with that guy anyway. All the Jawas do is cut out the middleman. They just tell you flat out, "We got your shit. You want it? Come get it. We'll tell you what we want instead." And like the droids getting picked up, that's just because they came across them, and they're still working droids. They're like, so shit, we'll pick them up. It's like, we'll sell them. That was just a happenstance. Like, just they just happened to come by them. But yeah, because nobody likes the Jawas. That's the only sense you really get out of them in the first movie. Is nobody really likes them, but they still deal with them because they're cheap.
Disgusting creatures.
Well, they're just a necessity, aren't they? Basically.
Yeah.
You kind of go, yeah. Like I said, they have stuff you need. You don't want to deal with them, but you kind of do. How many droids do you think Owen and Luke bought over the years? Owen Brew on the farm.
Oh, tons of them. Probably half of them they got. That's the point. Yeah. Where are you going to come across a droid in this? And that's the only reason I can see why Anakin would build a protocol droid where he's at, because it makes no sense if you're going to build a droid, build something completely new. Why build something that already exists? Well, because he built it from existing scrap parts, most likely.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, it's something they didn't have in this area.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's still stretching the believability of it. But not to get in the prequels of things. But no, this show I think has potential. It I liked pretty much this whole episode. I know Andre and Mr. H didn't think it was good as the first one, but I mean, unless pending another viewing of the first episode up against this one and whatever comes next, to me this is a bit more of a step in the right direction. I just hope it doesn't trip along the way.
Oh, I didn't dislike it. I liked it. I don't know. I just preferred the first one. That was all. But no, I still really liked it.
I just think you're shortchanging the director too, because I felt like he had a lot more shots in this that felt more of that Ralph McQuarrie kind of look to him.
Yeah, I mean, they just, I mean, I just don't think it was as good as Dave Filoni's direction. That's all. And I think they also changed some of the cutaways and swipeaways which they included in the first one. That was noticeably
that could
absent.
be possible. I didn't really pay attention to that, but one thing I did pay attention to, and a lot of other people did, is the shortness of this. I know it's something Andre brought up.
Yeah,
it was like only 30 minutes, 28 minutes or 29 minutes with the credits.
But also
like 3 or 4 minutes of credits.
Well, then you remove the goddamn recap at the start.
Well, yeah, that too. You're right. Yep.
So we're looking at maybe 24 minutes.
Really. Right. Yep.
Maybe 26 at the most.
And I say these are all perfectly timed if you had to pull them off and throw them on ABC real quick or something like that to promote it in some way.
Well, it's probably going to feel like a one long movie.
Well, of course, that's kind of what it was, even though they do have different directors coming in. But what they have on this movie, and this kind of leads me to how one of our leaks we got for Star Wars was they have a new technology on this show. Sorry, I said movie. This show that they ended up using on the reshoots or the still shooting of Rise of Skywalker a few weeks ago. However you want to look at it, where they could see the effects in real time. It's based on a video game technology that actually George Lucas pushed years ago.
And if you watch, it's like a Snapchat filter then.
Yeah, it's just like all those Snapchat filters, all that kind of crap.
I think
so. Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's called Volume or something like that.
I don't know the exact name of it. Sorry, but that's how we've gotten one of our leaks for the reshoots or still shooting of Rise of Skywalker was the person that told us. I don't think they meant to tell us that Rise of Skywalker was still shooting, because they were bragging about the fact that they were using this technology. And obviously Mandalorian's done and over with, and they're in the final phases of finishing those up. And one episode airs after Rise of Skywalker comes to theaters. I checked the schedule. So there's one more episode after Rise of Skywalker hits theaters. So.
Be interesting to see if they tie anything in.
I'm sure they will in some way. That's where I hope it's minimal, but if it becomes something very over the top,
It's clearly it's whatever they tie in is clearly not integral, and it's clearly not that important because Disney Plus is not released worldwide, right? So you got to remember that it's not released in all markets. So if it was
but if they're not, whatever markets they're not in, I'm sure they made some kind of deal. That might be another reason why
they've made no deals. Right, the UK does not get Disney Plus until March. There are no deals to be able to access any of the content at all. So everyone crying bloody murder, going, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. Calm down. Just use your brain for 1 second. They could have done deals. They could have secured things in every single market if they wanted to. If they really needed to, they would have done it. They've got all the money in the world. They haven't. So it's clearly not anything that's going to be integral to the story. It can't be.
Unless the only way is that unless this was written well before. I mean, how much planning? Well, we don't even know.
Well, no, if that's the case, if that's the case, if Mr. H is right, which I haven't looked into, so I have no idea, but I just assumed it was either in most markets or whatever markets they didn't hit, they would find other deals for. If that's the case, if they didn't yet, or they're holding off certain things like that, then yeah, chances are.
I promise you, you don't even need to look into it. Ask the chat. Ask anyone from the UK. There's no Disney Plus until March.
I'm surprised that they haven't got it yet. Yeah,
same as Australia, as far as I'm aware.
And that's very much news to me. I thought those would be the two. They would all be same time as us. So.
Yep.
Well, that's news to me.
Yeah, they only tested it in the Netherlands, and as soon as it went live here, that was it. And they cut it right off.
Well, that's weird. I knew they were testing it in the Netherlands, but I didn't think they'd cut it off. Well, Andre, you obviously got it, didn't you? Over there or no?
Well, we don't want Andre. He doesn't want to say how exactly he's.
He doesn't want to say anything right now. He's busy.
Well, I do now.
Yeah, there he is.
Yeah, back again.
Yeah.
Okay, where were we? We were on Super Chats, weren't we?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see how far we had gotten. The next one was Stargate 404 that sent us a $2 super chat saying space scenes are gorgeous, could fit in the movies. They could indeed. Guys, do you think that the series looks expensive?
Yeah.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
This one definitely looked better than the first episode as far as the effects.
Yeah, and the man to thank for that is actually Bob Iger. Because he's all in on Disney Plus, and he's basically told all the division leaders that everything that you make for Disney Plus has to be as good as if it had been feature films. It has to look as if it was feature film. Yeah, I know we're going to lose money on it, so you'll be compensated in other ways. So, yeah, that's how that is. So job well done so far. Disney Plus is a hit so far, with 10 million subscribers just in the US, with more to come around the world, I'm sure. And then Mark C sent us a $2 super chat saying, McClunky. Sure, that means something to some of you. Doesn't mean anything to me.
It is the shot that is added into the Star Wars. Now, the original Star Wars,
Han
just before Han and Greedo shoot at the same time.
Oh, right.
He goes, McClunky.
Oh, okay. Jesus, how fucking stupid. That just goes to show, gentlemen and ladies who are listening, always keep physical copy. I'm completely opposed to physical media disappearing, because then they can do this stuff. And you have no
I guarantee
choice
it wasn't
but to
even
accept.
Disney. It was George. I fucking am willing to put money on it. It was George.
Yeah, well, doesn't really matter.
No, but there's a lot of people blaming Disney.
But the real reason still remains that as long as if you don't have a physical media copy of it, if it's all digital, if it's all in the cloud and someone else controls what's there, you're gonna lose that original thing. So yeah.
Yeah, but a lot of kids today say, "I don't feel like getting off the couch to change discs." I'm like, really? That's your big sacrifice, really? Getting your ass off the
well,
couch?
fine, but the price to pay for that is that the stuff that you like right now, one day it can just be gone, and you won't have any backup of it.
Yep.
That's the price to pay, because basically you no longer own, you rent everything that's there on Disney Plus. You rent it.
Yeah, as far as Disney Plus goes too, I'm a little underwhelmed. I mean, some things I'm glad are there and I'm happy to see, but because part of it might be because I have a lot of these things from the Disney Movie Club being exclusive, so it's like, oh, I've already seen them. They're not like, old hat to me. But I've heard a lot of people are really getting into like Darkwing Duck, and then you have the other side of it where people are pissed that they only have the cropped off versions of The Simpsons on there. So that's kind of stupid. Hopefully
They do?
they'll.
My God, that's ridiculous.
Well,
And
I
also
guess
they
what
don't
happened.
have the Michael Jackson episode.
Yeah, then there's also that part of it too, which is stupid. But again, this is something to do, I believe, with the FX deal. And when they had them on their streaming situation on the Simpsons website, you could get them in either 4:3 or the cropped versions, which were shown on FX. So I'm hoping they'll just upload the other versions quietly at some point, and then you'll just get an option. That's my hope, because they're cutting off jokes and shit basically in a lot of these scenes and stuff. It'd be different if they were the squished versions, because then you could at least just choose to adjust your screen or whatever if you want to watch it stretched or squished or whatever.
Tom, I think I found out why the '60s Fantastic Four isn't on Disney Plus.
Probably because it's owned by Hanna-Barbera.
Exactly, yeah, produced by Hanna-Barbera,
which is under Warner, which I'm sure is sitting in some kind of fucking limbo.
Yeah,
because
probably.
of that. Pardon my French, but yeah.
Probably. As for cropped things, there's no need that they need to continue to exist. No. But yeah, anyway, that's neither here nor there. And then one final super chat. Adam Mead sent us a $2 super chat saying, Mr. H in the house has become the Mandalorian.
Dull as in D-U-L-L.
Yeah.
Well, what do you say, Mr. H?
Can you say that again?
It must be playing on something you said before. You said the Mandalorian, like M-A-N-D-U-L-L.
He says has become the Mandalorian.
Sure. Why not?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I say too. Probably some in-joke that I'm missing here, unless you can clarify in the comments.
It was from so long ago, yeah. Sorry about that.
Yeah, and Mako Rex just sent the comment, oh, Joker is supposed to cross 1 billion tonight. Check back here tomorrow. I'll have something to say about
halfway
that.
Done.
I think it has already.
Yeah, probably. If it hasn't, it's going to be within hours. Okay, guys, do we have we said pretty much all we need to say about The Mandalorian?
I think so.
Is there something left? Yeah. Okay, then we can. Mr. H, do you have something to add about The Mandalorian before we move into the final super chats?
No, not really. I'm just looking forward to watching the next one, to be honest.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Now it sucks we got to actually wait a whole week for this next one, as opposed to just a couple days.
Oh, do you know why they did that?
So they could get 10 million subscribers like they did.
I don't know this, but I would imagine that this was really, I wasn't one episode that was cut into two, but I would imagine that they put the two first right now, so shortly after each other, just to get people addicted.
Oh, yeah.
Two short episodes, since people have short attention spans.
Well, I think the whole thing is it's meant to just be a half-hour show. That first one was just a little extended, because right where that ends, you can tell that's where it was meant to. Same thing with this one. Like, I was actually going to say, that's one thing I guess I could add is they could have. I mean, besides, that's one thing that bothered me about it being so short, is we did seem like this was a bottle episode up until, which I mean by that is it was like a filler episode up until we get near the end, and then a lot of that end seemed very crammed into that last few minutes, to where an extra few minutes to let it breathe would have felt more natural. That was probably my only complaint in the whole episode, really.
All right, okay, and with that we can get into the final super chats, which were actually sent in. Like just minutes after we put this episode up, so very early today, then Ash Lockhart sent us $30 super. One more time, he sent us $30 worth of super chats. So this is something he obviously felt very strongly about, and this one is mostly for me. Your video for the Sonic film for the first time is stupid and wrong. First, let's get your point out of the way. No, the voice sounds fine. And just to smack your point upside the head here, having the first film being on Earth is not that big of a deal. If the movie does well, they very well could make a second movie and have that be in Sonic's world. This video should have been about the fact the studio really took criticism as feedback, and they listened, seeing the fact that we have gotten years of people not taking feedback and listening, and loads of exclamation marks. So I obviously feels very strong about it. This obviously then is about the previous Sonic video, where I ask with a mostly rhetorical question: was it the right thing to do to give in to fan pressure? And then I answer that question in the video. Yes, of course, it was the right thing to do. Sonic is a million times better right there and then. Personally, I had an issue with the voice. I don't feel that the voice fits as well as it should. They should have gotten Tom, what's his name again?
Jaleel White, who did it in I think at least a couple of the animated shows.
Yeah, just get him. That would be awesome. I would have preferred that to the voice that we have right now, but that's just me. I don't think that Sonic had quite enough of attitude, but that could be a personal preference.
And I said I didn't totally disagree with you on that. I mean, I didn't think it was as bad as you did, but the vibe I got from this, do you remember what I said?
No, you're going to
Howard the Duck.
remind me. Yes, you
the
did.
86 movie, yes. It's the same plot almost minus a chick.
Yeah, to which I said, I wonder if we're going to get his girlfriend back in Sonic World with the Sonic tits. Or like blue hedgehog tits.
I doubt it.
I very much doubt that. But basically, just to reiterate the things that maybe weren't there in the thumbnail, but they definitely are there in the video. I'm really happy with what they did for the redesign, and I'm really happy that they took the criticism to heart and actually did something with it. As I also say in the video, because of that, I now hope that the movie is going to do okay. I will be seeing it myself, and I hope to be able to give it nothing but good press and promotion of Midnight's Edge. I certainly am hugely in favor of listening to the audience feedback the way that they did. Of course, there's a time and a place when you want to listen to audience feedback and when you don't want to listen to it. That was kind of the point with the video. There are times when you have to stick to your guns and ignore the feedback because you know you got something better. At least you have a vision that kind of relies on it. And other times when you see that this is just a design element and there really isn't any more to it, and it's really pissing people off, so let's just change it. That's what they did here, and kudos to them. That was the point of the video. And if I wasn't clear enough about that, then sorry, but that's how it is. Every video can't be a winner. Any comments on that?
I'll go see Howard the Duck 2.
Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, and with that, I do believe that we are all caught up on super chats. Just gonna do a final check, and yes, we're still caught up on that. So with that, I just want to thank everyone who came to join us for this roundtable discussion. Thanks to you, Mr. H, for joining us as well. Always a pleasure to have you and your viewpoints.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And of course, also Tom and Rob, thanks for joining me as well. Always a pleasure to hear you, especially when we have like some dissidence and opinion on the panel. That's always awesome. Mr. H, where can people find you?
You can find me just on YouTube at Mr. H Reviews, and also on Twitter as well. I'm over there spouting off nonsense.
Someone got to do that as well. Tom and Rob, where can people find you? Although most people obviously know that, but let's say it anyway.
Well, of course, you can find us here and Midnight's Edge After Dark, which is a completely different channel, but it is obviously associated with Midnight's Edge. It is our sister channel. A lot of people don't know that, so do check that out. And yes, Drew Gordon, I said Howard the Duck too. It's the same story. They even have Jim Carrey's the Doctor turning into the kind of crazy version of Dr. Robotnik. It's just like the Doctor and Howard the Duck.
It's funny. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
I know. I'm not. I mean, I'm not like against it. I'm just saying that's all I got out of it. I just like okay. I like Howard the Duck, to be honest with you. So I'll argue that's actually pretty close to the comic in a lot of ways.
I'll argue it looks fun though. Yeah. All right, gentlemen.
It looks a lot better. That's for sure.
That it does. Absolutely. Excellent, gentlemen, ladies, gentlemen in the audience. Thank you for joining. And Mary, you guys are ending the live stream right when I checked in. Night, everyone.
Speaking of Sonic, Mr. H, didn't you do a video about like reshoots for the new one or something like that? Somebody said. I didn't get a chance to see it if you did.
For
the Sonic movie?
No, I just did a video or kind of comparing it and whether well, basically what they did, I guess, how they went around reapplying the new model. It's just purely my
well, I'm just wanted to point it out because it came back to me, even though I don't know if they knew we had an association anyway. So
that's cool.
Just to tell you that your video made the rounds.
Good. Nice.
Awesome. Yeah, everyone be sure to check Mr. H reviews out. And the Joker is in the process of breaking the $1 billion threshold right now. And we'll be having a video about that early tomorrow morning. If you are in the US, that is. If you're in Europe, it's going to be a little bit in your afternoon. But basically, in the next... within the next 16, 17 hours, we'll have a video on that up. All right. Excellent, everyone. Thanks for joining. Have a good afternoon, evening, wherever you are. Take care.